So using layers can add a lot of volume and depth to the videos. What I mean by that, it just makes the image more interesting, doesn't it? If a viewer is forced to go through a story in a frame, when I say story, that means you have multiple scenes that lead you to that story. So there's a multiple scenes on a frame, and of course I'm talking about in each plane of the frame you have a scene. So a good number of scenes would be 3, because that would mean you have a foreground, you have a middle ground, and a background. And if you really want to see a magnificent use of this technique, so top-notch level, world class, you'll see Alex Webb. Go through some of his photo books and you'll see that he uses precisely this technique, and that's his actually style. This is his recognizable style. He always uses this technique, not always, but you know what I mean. He always has really strong foreground, middle ground, smashing background. And just viewing his images made me think so much about photography in general, and how I was limiting myself so much by having one subject. Usually most of my images is just one subject interacting with the rest, but he has multiple scenes, and it just changed the way I do things. And I think this is hugely gonna influence my style in a way. And not only that, I learned a lot about composing images just by using this for a couple of weeks, and I strongly advise you that you do it as well. But before you go outside and start using this technique, implementing what you learned just from this snippet of a video, I urge you to watch the rest of the video, because I did a really nice technique breakdown. I'm gonna give you a couple of tips, and in the end I'm gonna show you my results. So what are my results after doing this technique a couple of weeks? And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and talk to you later. When using a wide-angle lens, you capture more space, and that's obviously really good for this challenge that we're doing right now, since you have to see more layers of the image. So I'm using my kit lens, which is the only wide-angle lens I have available, and I think it's good enough. So I'll probably adjust it to 25 to 35 millimeters and play with that. The first layer, or the foreground that we see first, shouldn't be more than 2 meters away from you. Preferably should be even closer. Try incorporating negative space around people to add more depth. Avoid cluttered groups or overlapping people, as they can become unreadable blobs in your image. To be honest, you can't really do this challenge in a place that's swarming with people, because you need a little bit space in between the groups to compose the image. Don't worry if a person in the immediate foreground is blurred. This can add depth. A good technical setup is to focus manually at 3 meters. Set the ISO to 1200 and shoot using aperture priority, with the aperture set at around f8. 3 layers are ideal, but anywhere between 2 and 5 can work. Using color in bright, contrasty conditions can produce stunning effects. Try shooting at start and end of the day when the shadows are long. To prepare for this challenge, you might want to read Alex Webb's incredible book, The Suffering of Light, and you'll see how the master of this technique works his magic.